the affairs of men. It can't be no more direct.
And
but
Marcus
the choice
Garvey,
is yours. You are creators and makers of your own.
And Marcus Garvey said, "Up, you mighty people, do what you will." The most important word is will. Because if you don't use your will, your enemy will
remember me, reconnect me to my purpose, to myself. And was it you who said that the lights they throw in your face are like the white that the men in black do?
Right. Now, look, I thought I was crazy when I first seen this, right? Because I seen them when I came out, I seen the bright lights, and I remember immediately being dumbfounded, what they call blinded by the light. Dumbfounded by all these bright ass lights in my face. And it triggered a reaction, and it brought in all my prior births. There was no lights. When I was born before, I was always born to doulas under controlled conditions. This is the first time I was born under the rule of an enemy who was uncontrolled of the conditions, and I wasn't in the ambient lit growing up. But as you get more recall of your past lives, you start remembering this stuff. And I was like, that's the major anomaly. And then I keep hearing people say, don't go into the light. And then I remember, before you born, there's no light to go into. Right? When you die, there's no light to go into. You don't see the light till you come out of the delivery.
Till you come out of the womb, of the matrix. You come out of the matrix.
They saying that it's right. So when they saying don't go into the light, those are modern birthing hospital rooms. They saying abort the baby. The baby should abort itself up on birth if you see those lights, because you under the control of the enemy. But they not understanding that these lights is not part of the life-death cycle. When you really fade off, you see from a higher consciousness level everything. You're not blinded with no lights. Ain't no lights. But you see the child being born that you're gonna come back in. You're not coming back immediately when you leave most of the time. But when the child in the future that you're going to come through is being born, you seeing the life of that child. And you are having options of several timelines that this child should be born on. So when they're telling you don't go into the light, they're saying avoid the birth that you're going to come back into the light. Because if you come back in the light, you know that the enemy is on the other side acting like they doctors.
Wow. Well,
right?
many a child has come into the light.
And a midwife.
Right.
Right. Go back to the warning about the light. Where is it most famous from? Poltergeist.
Yeah. Carol Ann.
Carol Ann. Go into the light. There's peace and tranquility in the light. Right? Now, all the time, demons is trying to get Carol Ann, and the witch is telling her to go into the light. Now, flip it in reverse.
So now, let me see. Is your I don't know, your voice is breaking up, and
telling her to go.
Yeah, we're getting you like
into the light.
You're breaking up.
While her to go into the light.
Yeah.
Your
sound is breaking.
Your screen.
Yeah, you're breaking up. Yeah, and they're putting it in because I can hear you, but the sound is better. All right, Brother Rod, let's see what we got.
We getting the improvement?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, from what I'm looking at, you totally black, so the audience should tell me if your screen is black or if we can see Dr. G.
Okay, do you all see me? Put a 1 in there. Somebody put a 1 in the chat if you see me. No, I don't. Anybody see me? They're not seeing it. Can you hear me? Ask you, do you see me? Because I know when we first came on, you were saying you couldn't see me, Brother Robert. I see me. Oh yeah, they see me. They got 1s all in there. Thank you. So
Okay.
believe me, I'm here.
As long as they can see you,
they can see me. They can see you too. Okay. So let's go back to this because this is so interesting. Let's go back to this birth process and the light and all that because this is fire, y'all. This is fire.
Right. So go back
wait a
to
minute.
when you start
wait a minute. Somebody
birth...
says they only see me and not you. Wait a minute. If you see Rod, anybody see us both? If you see, you're looking good. So if you see us both, put a 2 in the.
I can see you now, Dr. G.
You see me?
You just came.
All right. Okay, you just probably see me too. Matt. Okay. All right. Somebody said a young guy on TikTok. Where'd I go? Oh, here we go. I'm gonna push this up. You'll see this. A young guy on TikTok using gematria somehow matched Rod Hayes to Lucifer. Said that's a good thing. Well, if that means the light.
Hey, look. So the Lucifer effect, right? The Lucifer effect. Don't nobody know what it is, but it's written in all of the occult mysteries. Okay. The Lucifer effect is the ability to be able to read the creation from above and from below simultaneously. That's all it is. It ain't nothing else. Take all that spookism, mysteryism, all that out of it. That means that you just got the ability to see clearly from the spiritual into the physical and vice versa. Okay. It's called mirror flipping. As above, so below. What's written in the stars manifest on the ground if you know how to read them. But if you don't know how to read them, it's gibberish and nonsense. Right. But okay, so back to you for anybody that's just tuned in. So you were talking about the birth, your birth, remembering this last birth, because you know that you also talked about seeing remembering other incarnations. Yes. And seeing, when do you see future births? I'm barred from seeing the future, so I don't change it. Okay. Right, because so I change it to anytime I. Where'd he go, y'all? Somebody just called me, Dr. G. I have to go out and come back in. Y'all stop calling him. He's online. So can you hear me clear? I hear you. Yeah. Okay. So so you said you would change it if you. I would always change it for the collective to have the most functional future possible. If I could see the future, I automatically switch the timeline. But then that would be what you call averting the work required to change it correctly, which will cause a wrinkle in time that can't be compensated for. Well, since we know that timelines are not so much as chronological, but maybe multidimensional, or these other lives may be other dimensional lives, just like you talked about, the Mandela effect, or these other lives that you remember, might you be living them out, at the same time? May they be, are we talking about lives that have literally passed and gone and not connected anymore to what you're doing? Oops, you froze. Can you hear me? I tell you, we talking good and they messing us up. You know what this is? You come in. You know what this is, y'all? Because the knowledge that's being shared is to take away the spookism. It's taking away the spookism and the fear that even this kind of stuff, they don't want it to get out because they want to keep us in fear. They don't want us to be in knowing. They don't want us to be able to, go boldly into whatever battles we need to go to, knowing that,
you know, we are spirit, and, you know, we are souls that live forever. They want you to have that same mentality that we've been indoctrinated with in Christianity. Can you hear me, Rod? I'm just trying to fill
I
in
can hear you. Can
space.
you hear me?
Yes, you froze, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go. Just trying to keep it going.
Yeah. So, one of my past lives being born, I remember in antebellum New Orleans being born, and the room was only lit with candles. The whole room was a whole bunch of candles. That was it. And it had a chandelier, so I know they had lighting. But the chandelier wasn't on, but it was candles all around the room. And it was an elderly, dark-skinned lady and a younger, bright Creole woman that was the doula and the birth maiden. Because you always have to have one with you in training so the knowledge can be shared most effectively by osmosis. This is why we used to use apprenticeships over job training. Because when you do an apprenticeship, you get the hands-on experience from some of the best teachers possible, the experts on the job.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do hands-on training, they just teach you the steps, but they don't teach you how to compensate for little intricacies that come up as problems on the job where you don't have to call a whole army of people to fix it. Right? But she following that principle in the streets today, like if you go to LA,
Why are they freezing you? Can you hear me, Rod?
and you tell them that you a Crip blood, they're gonna say, well, where you put your work in, who your witnesses. That means that all of the chiefs always have a witness to.
I don't know why. You said. I guess this is too powerful.
Well,
So
so
you're
at this
saying
point,
you go to LA about the Crips and that's where you
yeah.
went, right?
So they always ask you who a witness to your work in order to solidify what your status is on the land. That's different from the mainstream cultural norm. So the culture that we use is somebody always have to be a witness that you about what you say you about, that you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do the way you said you was gonna do it. So
Mm-hmm.
they call that a witness to your work. Every step of the way, I'm one of the most scrutinized people when I look back on the history, because I done been under review since I was, look, when my mama used to go to all these different churches and tents and trailer parks and basements. When I remember being an iron baby, and she passed me around to all these old ladies. They be old as hell. Some of them dip snuff, and they be saying, oh yeah, Shaddy, it's the one right here. I don't know what they talking about, but I can still remember they chatter.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
know,
you like you've been under evaluation since you came out the gate.
right. And it wasn't until in the last 3 years of doing this work, I realized that I couldn't even be here if somebody didn't conjure me up. I have to be conjured up to come into the physical world by a group of people. One tribe cannot conjure me up. All of the tribes have to agree, because they don't know how I'm gonna behave when they conjure me up. And so they have to put me through cycles of training to temper my temperament so that I can have enough self-control to be useful. Otherwise, I'd be useless to the collective, and I'd be useful to some tyrants. Right?
So
But
when you decided to do what you were doing, to take it on like you have, you know, with your whole heart and soul into this, it was it back in 2008 when you came, or because personally I just discovered you this year.
No,
video popped up, and it was this year, and I was like, "Who is this man?" And I said, "He's a record keeper." Remember when I first? And so I tried to contact you, or I wanted to contact you, and then I said, I'm gonna interview him one day, and then you saw Grand Chic and I doing a live in the park, and you reached out, and then I didn't believe it was you. But I'm just saying, I'm like, where did he come from? But you didn't just start doing this, obviously. But
no.
when did folks start noticing you, that from your perspective, the way you're noticed now?
Over the last 3 years, mostly, but there were certain people in certain places who knew where I've been and what I've been doing since birth.
Okay.
Been getting reports every step of the way. When I make mistakes, I don't let other people pay for my mistakes. That was a rare quality. But none of them believed that I was ready because they didn't realize how
Got you blocked. I mean, break it up again. And it could be your internet. Maybe it's the speed on your phone. Can you hear me? It'll be back there, y'all. But can you explain this for those who've never heard you explain? Why is it so important to free Larry Hoover, respectively? Why is he a big part of things? Can you explain? Please explain.
yeah, I don't have no problem with that. And it's not just Larry Hoover.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's a battle cry, a rallying cry.
Right. So when we got the 7.4 earthquake in New Mexico, they asking me in a series of exchanges of what we call knocks to knockbacks. The Galactic Council asked me for my leader because of the work that they seen me doing. They want to know who it is that I'm up under, who is the leader of the clan that I'm in, because I made all of the successful moves to reclaim our inheritance from the enemies. So when they ask me who I follow, who is my leader, I have to give them my clan leader. I can't give them no politicians because they're not our real leaders. I can't give them none of those corporate big hats because they're not our real leaders either. I can't give them a celebrity. I have to give them somebody that's from the land organically, who walked the same path as me before me, who may not be who people want him to be, but he is who he is to us as a people. The same way the free Larry Hoover, it also equally applies to Asada Shakur, the one formerly known as H. Rat Brown, Malachi Z. York, Chief Malik Angel Bay, formerly known as Jeff Ford, Black Peace Stone Nation, Stan Tukey Williams, who we believed was put to death but was actually put in cryostasis at Area 51. The only person that I would accept that wasn't one of us, that was one of us, that was seen in the public uh, on a regular basis was Farrakhan. Because when I did the science to trace back who the matriarch was, I ended up with Mother Khadijah. Using the rules of the land applied on the things that's operating on the land, I have to find the highest ranked matriarch in order to know how to restore our people. If we can't find her, then we don't know how to read the signs effectively enough to know the difference between the imposters on the land and our own people. Well, I clearly seen who she was. Farrakhan has the evidence and the verification proof, and he already presented it, and it's already been verified that all of the stuff that I said was accurate. So when they asked me for my leader, the only person I can give them, being that ever since I was, all of my cousins in my age group that I grew up with from in Chicago, I didn't live in the same And these three cities is Grand Rapids, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, one spot and learn the culture. The culture is all across the land, but you have to be exposed for a period of time to be able to assimilate this piece. Also, in before I went to prison, I lived in Mississippi. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. I lived in Seaford, Delaware. I lived in Newark, New Jersey, New York, right? Um, I had to traverse the land, and a lot of these trips from these places was by bus.